The very first email ever sent said absolutely nothing important. The man who typed it can't even remember exactly what it was. In 1971, a computer engineer named Ray Tomlinson was tinkering on a government network called Arpanet. He wasn't trying to invent email. He was just curious whether a message could jump between two separate machines instead of staying trapped on one. Back then, computers were islands. A message could sit on your machine, but it had no way to reach the machine across the room, let alone across the country. Tomlinson combined two existing programs, one that left messages for users on the same computer, and one that transferred files between computers. Bolted together, they could carry a note from one machine straight into another user's mailbox. That fusion is the moment email quietly began. The two computers he used sat side by side in the same room, connected only through the Arpanet link. The message traveled a few feet through miles of protocol. To send a message, Tomlinson faced one obvious problem. The system needed to know which user and which computer the note was going to. He needed a symbol that could sit between a person's name and their machine's address without ever being confused for a real name. He glanced down at the keyboard, hunting for a character nobody used in names. Something odd, something spare, something already sitting there, ignored. His eyes landed on the @ sign. It appeared in no one's name, it was rarely typed, and it literally meant at a location. It was perfect, a person at a machine. With one keystroke, the @ symbol got the most important job of its entire life. That single choice is why every email address on Earth still carries an @ sign today. Billions of them, all descended from one board engineer's shortcut. An email exploded. What started as a niche experiment now moves an almost unimaginable volume of messages. By the mid-2020s, humans and machines send hundreds of billions of emails every single day, dwarfing every other messaging system ever built. But here's where the story gets strange. The @ sign didn't start in 1971. It's actually centuries older than the computer. Historians have traced the @ sign back hundreds of years to merchants and monks. In old trade documents, it meant at the rate of, like 10 barrels at 3 coins each. So a symbol built for medieval accounting quietly waited centuries for its true purpose. Some scholars think monks invented it by looping the "e" of the Latin word "ad", meaning toward or at, a shortcut to save ink and time on the page. That's why the symbol survived onto typewriters at all. It was kept around for commercial invoices, pricing goods at a certain rate. When keyboards inherited it, almost nobody used it. It was digital dead weight, just waiting for one engineer to notice it. But if you think the origin is wild, the wildest part is coming, because almost nobody realized how huge this invention was, including the man who made it. Tomlinson never patented email. He never made a fortune from it. When a colleague first saw what he'd built, the reaction was basically to keep it quiet, because it wasn't even part of what they were supposed to be working on. For years, this quiet little tool spread engineer to engineer, lab to lab, with almost no fanfare. Nobody threw a launch party for the thing rewiring communication. But email had a superpower nothing else did. You didn't need the other person online at the same time. You could fire off a message and walk away. That single feature, asynchronous messaging, is why it beat phone calls for work forever. Within a couple of years, email reportedly made up the vast majority of all traffic on Arpanet. The experiment had swallowed the network it was born on. By the mid-1970s, studies found email was the single biggest use of Arpanet. More than file transfers, more than remote logins. A tool no one was asked to build had become the reason the network existed for most people. Then came the details we take for granted. The reply button, forwarding a message, folders to sort the flood, each one a tiny invention layered on top of that first note. Early email had no subject lines, no formatting, no attachments, just raw text between machines. Everything that makes your inbox feel modern was bolted on afterward by different people over decades. The core idea, though, never changed. And that address format, name, then @ sign, then location, became a template. Every social handle you type today echoes that exact structure. Today, the @ sign lives in nearly every online identity. Email addresses, social usernames, developer mentions, it became a universal marker for this person in this place. Not bad for a symbol once used to price barrels of wine. In 2010, a New York museum even added the @ sign to its permanent design collection, celebrating a keystroke choice made in a single afternoon. The Museum of Modern Art acquired the @ sign as a work of design in 2010, one of the few objects it owns without physically possessing it. A symbol you can't hold, honored for reshaping how the planet talks. So the next time you tap that little symbol without thinking, remember it survived medieval ledgers, sat useless for decades, and got saved by one curious engineer. The biggest revolutions rarely announce themselves. Sometimes they're just a bored engineer, an old symbol, and a message no one remembers.